Good morning. It is 9:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, and you can listen to that show anywhere. iHeart, TuneIn, the FM dial. You can watch us. Super Talk TV is up and running on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. Help us grow that digital footprint of the radio station. I think we crossed 14,000 on YouTube on Friday, which is, it's small potatoes in the YouTube world, but it's a big deal for us. We appreciate you hitting like and hitting subscribe. If you haven't done it yet, free to do. Please jump in there and oblige us. Mason Fleming is producing. Joan Jones is in the newsroom. And we got a lot to talk about today. Another weekend of ICE protests and the biggest dump to date that we have seen on Epstein-related files. It has been wild. I don't know about you, but I had plenty of time to dig through every single one of the 3 million files over the weekend. I personally reviewed every single one of the 3 million files.
You did
Every single one?
All of them. Twice.
Nah.
Twice. Oh, Santa Claus numbers over here.
I had to, we're making a list.
Checking it twice.
It does kind of make you wonder. So you couldn't get, out of all this info that you had, you couldn't get a list? Couldn't get a client list?
Yeah.
Couldn't charge anybody? Here's the thing. And I don't mean to sound blasphemous, but with the amount of data that they have dumped, you could treat this like the Bible. You can find a verse to support or go against anything. And the same is with the Epstein file dump that we had. 3 million files. If there's somebody that you want to point a finger at, you can absolutely find information to do so. If there's somebody that you want to vindicate, you can absolutely find information to do so. Donald Trump says he's vindicated. I haven't seen anything that is raising the eyebrows to the point of this is a smoking gun with Donald Trump in the list. You're welcome to weigh in and let me know your opinion as well, though. 615-737-9986. Phone lines are open. Text lines open. I've seen a lot of stuff from the Epstein files. There were accusations of Donald Trump raping a young child. You flip through those accusations and you'll see that the FBI, who is taking the statement, said there's nothing here. This is not real evidence, and they never follow up on it. At the exact same time, there's outlandish statements about George W. Bush Sr. and saying that he was involved in satanic ritual sexual abuse. Again, if you want to believe that, it's there for you to believe. I'm going to take it with a grain of salt at this time. I wouldn't necessarily be shocked if any of these allegations were true, but it doesn't necessarily meet the burden of proof that we're going to need. I think one thing is for sure, though. The DOJ and the FBI and the Trump administration up until this point has been severely lacking when it comes to the Epstein files. There was a lot of information in there. They told us there was nothing more to see. I think we can look at that and say that was a lie. That was absolutely a lie. And then from there, what do we have that's actionable? There's been a few things that have been actionable since the Epstein files drop on Friday. And for starters, we saw the Slovakian National Security Advisor resign. Reuters has that story. Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico's national security advisor has resigned after new files related to Jeffrey Epstein showed the pair had exchanged emails talking about young women. He's out. Couldn't take the heat. He's gone. Good. Also, in another European country, this one, maybe you've heard of it, about the United Kingdom. Peter Mandelson has resigned from the Labour Party over Jeffrey Epstein links. Lord Mandelson, the FBI suggested the peer had received $75,000 from the pedophile and lobbied against banker's tax. Lord Mandelson had resigned from the Labour Party after files related to Jeffrey Epstein suggested he had received $75,000 from the pedophile financier and also lobbied against a tax on British bankers' bonuses. Mandelson, the former business secretary who was made a peer in 2008, said he did not wish to cause the party further embarrassment over his links to Epstein. So you do have big-time guys falling because of this. The UK's Lord Peter Mandelson, that is one of the bigger ones that we have seen as far as shoes dropping. And he resigns as a member of Keir Starmer's Labour Party. This is the latest that we got from, I believe this is the BBC.
Former British government minister Peter Mandelson resigned Sunday as a member of Prime Minister Keir Starmer's Labour Party. That is after new reports surfaced linking him with disgraced U.S. financier Jeffrey Epstein. According to reports by the BBC and other news organizations, Mandelson said in a letter that he did not wish to cause, quote, further embarrassment to Labour. He said allegations about financial payments to him by Epstein were false, and he would investigate them. Starmer fired Mandelson as Britain's ambassador to the United States last year. He came under scrutiny after U.S. lawmakers released documents, including a letter in which he called Epstein his, quote, best pal. Mandelson was a key figure in the Labour Party's electoral success when Tony Blair was prime minister, starting in the 1990s. But he was twice forced to quit as minister over allegations of misconduct. He later served for a time as European Union Trade Commissioner.
Not a good guy, but it looks like they were willing to look the other way as long as it didn't get too messy, and apparently now is too messy. Donald Trump was asked about the Epstein files. This is on his way. Where was he going? Was this after the Melania premiere? He was doing something last night. He's on Air Force One, and he was asked about the Epstein files.
Mr. President, what did you think of the latest release of Epstein files, and do you think your critics will be satisfied with?
Well, they should be, because it looked like this guy Wolf was a writer, was conspiring with Epstein to do harm to me. And I didn't see it myself, but I was told by some very important people that not only does it absolve me, it's the opposite of what people were hoping, the radical left. That Wolf, who's a third-rate writer, was conspiring with Jeffrey Epstein to hurt me, politically or otherwise. And that came through loud and clear. So we'll probably sue Wolf on that.
So Donald Trump says, listen, the latest dump absolves me. One of the things that I find very, very fascinating is if there was information that could have brought down Donald Trump, why didn't they use it during the 4 years under Joe Biden? Again, why didn't they? There are a lot of people on the internet today saying, aha, we got him now. The walls are closing in on Donald Trump. I don't necessarily see that. I don't think it looks good for his DOJ, and I don't think it looks good for his FBI. But I don't think that Donald Trump was personally implicated at all. Thomas Massie wants to see the unredacted file. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche was asked about this on ABC. And Todd gets his dates mixed up here. Thomas Massie requested to see the unredacted files on Friday. This interview was done on Sunday. And he said he hadn't seen the letter yet, but Massey is welcome to the unredacted files anytime.
There are a small number of documents, as I said on Friday, that we're waiting for a judge to say we're allowed to release because of a protective order. But this review is over. I mean, we reviewed over 6 million pieces of paper, thousands of videos, tens of thousands of images, and which is what the statute required us to do. It's interesting. Leadership on the Hill, Congressman Massey, Senator Schumer, are quick to complain. There is no way they have spent any time looking at the materials we produce, because I know the materials we produce. We produced them on Friday. By Saturday, they're already complaining about what we did. And by the way, apparently Massey and others wrote a letter to come and review unredacted materials. I didn't get that letter yet. They leaked it to the press before they actually sent it to me. But yeah, that's absolutely, totally fine.
The big takeaway is, do you want to look at the unredacted stuff? Yes, that's absolutely, totally fine. I think that he has his dates mixed up. But one of the things that he said was absolutely true. He goes, okay, so how did you have time to review all these documents? I mean, again, even the weaponized autists on the internet did not have enough time to go through every single document over the weekend. 3 million, hundreds of thousands of images, thousands of videos. There's no way anybody could get through all of it right now. There's just none. But a lot of people are going to find certain things, and they're going to hang on to them and go, I'm taking a grain of salt approach on all of the extreme stuff, because there's a lot of extreme stuff in there. I mean, there's emails between Elon and Epstein. There's emails between Bill Gates and Epstein. There's one email where Bill Gates is asking Epstein for some medication for STDs that he contracted while hanging out with some of the Epstein girls. It's insane. Absolutely insane. I don't know how true it is or isn't. A lot of the files don't come with any context at all. Is this an email from Epstein to someone? Are they talking about someone third party? Is this a witness statement? What's the deal behind the witness? Is there any reasonable sort of truth to these claims? There's too much to go through. And I think that that's part of the design here, to be honest with you. You just dump everything, and then nothing really shakes out of it. It's too murky. The waters aren't clear at all. The only way we're going to ever feel that this is resolved is if we see some criminal charges. And until we see some criminal charges, it just feels like Groundhog's Day again and again and again with the Epstein files. Are there some emails that are going to get the internet going? Absolutely. Are we going to see any actionable info, any actionable accountability from these drops? Probably not. And I think that that's the most infuriating thing about everything. Mike in Nashville, you're up first on Super Talk. What's up, Mike?
Hey, how's it going, Chris?
Good. How are you, sir?
Pretty. Well, I mean, it's hard to grasp what's going on, and I know some of this stuff is too much for you to go into, but for you to say, people taking something and holding on to it, this is child rape and torture.
Yeah.
It is not a Democrat or Republican thing.
100%, I'm 100% with you on that.
Okay. Would you feel comfortable being the family man that you are, leaving your kids around any of them? Any of them at this point? We've been paying our taxes every time. I don't care if you got $1 million job or if you've got a $5 job. Every time you pay gas, cigarettes, drinks, bread, anything, these corrupt people have been getting that money to rape and control kids. It goes beyond sex. This is cannibalism. Every conspiracy theory is vindicated. And Todd Blanche said,
I mean, but on the cannibalism front, and I've heard the theories, right? Like I'm not listening. Hey, it could absolutely be true.
It was theories. It's starting to become more than theory. At this point,
what did you see that was like hardcore proof?
I mean, a lot of people are saying a lot of these files.
But that's not what I'm saying. But that's exactly why. But I can't come on the air and point fingers at people because nothing I saw looked like hardcore proof that could be used in a court of law.
Like you said, 3 million files were released, and it's only been 2 days. You got to give it time, but there's people out there that are going to. More will come out. But Todd Blanche said we released 3 million. The Congress was. The law was for them to release 6 million.
Mm-hmm.
He told them he was holding back the videos of torture, sex, and the stuff that. Okay, so
murder.
Just imagine. Walk with me. Use your critical thinking skills. Okay, so we got 3 million files of pictures of powerful people, everyone we've trusted and paid our taxes to, and 3 million of those. Come on now, they've been doing it. And now,
but I think you're operating from the standpoint that I don't want accountability for these people, and I think that's the wrong position to.
We need a new government at this point. We don't need to be going into Venezuela. We don't need to be going into Iran. We got people who's been raping kids that need to get out of. What do you consider worse?
But what I'm saying though is like, okay,
what's worse to you? Pedophilia and immigration.
So pedophilia. But I would say who needs to be replaced?
All of them.
All of them. Every single one of them. Every single one of the
They need to hold an emergency election come November. Needs to be an emergency election.
But every single government official is raping kids.
I would say, did you know Ron DeSantis is accused of raping a boy in there?
But again, an accusation is not proof.
How many accusations?
You need context. I'm just being honest with you, dude.
They're covering for each other. We're not going to get the accountability we want because we're not them. They are obviously part of this is Satanism. This goes against everything me and you and Christians believe, and it's bigger than just we need this. What's his name? The Supreme Court Justice, the big black guy. He's been raping people. We can't expect them to hold each other accountable.
What evidence do you have that Clarence Thomas has been raping people?
Man. I mean, if Jeffrey Epstein is sending thousands of emails back and forth talking to these people, he don't know he's going to get caught. Do you understand how many
you just completely ghosted past the question.
It's just a lot, man. And I just think y'all need to start flipping the spectrum.
I'm open to the conversation, brother. But here's the thing: like you go, Clarence Thomas has been raping people, and I go, okay, where'd you hear that? And then you just change the subject.
Okay, well, let me take that back. There's evidence and emails and stuff for Ron DeSantis, Clarence Thomas. It's John Podesta.
But what's the context behind it? Who sent the email? Who is the email to? Who is the email from?
I can't.
But you see, these details matter. You understand that, right?
Yeah,
like I could absolutely send an email to Mason right now and be like, "Did you hear that Mike guy? You know that he raped like 10 kids." And then, in 10 years, but in 10 years,
these are from Jeffrey Epstein.
But I'm just saying, but man, I'm just saying to you, like, there's a difference between an email being sent and actual evidence of a crime.
I think people need to wake up. There's people are shoving Muslim and Islam down people's throats. This proves Jewish supremacy. We need to get Israel out of our government. We need to get Israel out of our government, man. And I don't know how long or what it's going to take for people to realize that, but it's bad.
I mean, like I saw the use of the words "goy" and "cattle" and all of that throughout the emails. Yes.
Explain to your listeners, Chris, what "goy" means.
I mean, you can read the Bible and do your own research. But
why not? Why don't you tell them? Why can't you tell them?
There's the Jewish people and there's everybody else. We're the goyim.
Okay, and what is a goyim? Like, break that down for them.
It's like a second-class citizen.
A second-class citizen. You know, they think of us as second-class citizens. Hold on, think about this.
But you're looking at an Epstein email and going, every Jewish person thinks this way.
Supreme, the ones that's in our Congress, the ones that's in our government. I'm not talking about
I would just say,
and little mitzvahs around Nashville.
But I would just say who?
Zionist Jews, brother.
No,
Come on now.
I feel you.
Are you gaslighting me?
No.
Are you trying to have a?
I'm just asking. What? I'm just asking for a name. You have said Ron DeSantis is raping kids. Clarence
Ben Shapiro, Andrew Klavitt. 90% of the government that's funded by AIPAC.
Okay, but you mentioned Ben Shapiro.
Are you a real Christian? Do you know these people?
Ben Shapiro isn't in our government.
Shapiro is the main voice for the conservatives, man. Come on.
I don't view Ben Shapiro as a main voice for conservatives. In fact, I don't listen to Ben Shapiro at all.
That's the best thing you said, man. I got to get off you. You piss me off, man. You make me so mad.
Why? Because I'm asking you to back up what you're saying.
When it comes time to have any kind of accountability, you act like you are dumb to the fact of what's going on.
Why? Because you said Clarence Thomas is raping kids, and I said, okay, tell me about that.
No, I said our government. Everyone in our government, damn near in the past 10 years, has been raping kids. That's had real power.
Everyone.
I'm gonna say 90%. Well, I mean,
you feel like that's a big number. 90%. 90%.
Yeah.
Do I think that individuals in our government were caught up in blackmail? Absolutely. Do I think that they were all raping kids? No, I don't.
Guys, they got blackmailed. Look what they were getting blackmailed for, bro.
Okay, why are you getting so angry at me? This is the thing I don't understand. I didn't do anything.
You should be on here today telling people to get pissed off, man, instead of patty caking the administration still. I didn't really see nothing definitive about Trump. You wouldn't let your kids in I bet you wouldn't let him alone with your kids. The most egregious thing I saw in there was if you flipped to page 3, they said we determined that the witness wasn't that credible. She actually had a couple of psych holes. I mean, there's accusations of a murder, of him testing little girls before auctioning them off at Mar-a-Lago. This isn't conspiracies anymore. This was done by the Department of Justice.
So why didn't the Biden DOJ go after Trump? I mean, they went after him with everything else.
Listen,
they're sitting on this info.
The Republicans did it because they forced them. Congress made them do it. They can't say, well, the Biden administration didn't give you any files.
So the 90%, the government that's full of 90% pedophiles forced them to release this info.
Nope, Congress, Thomas Massey. Thomas Mask, a real Christian
and
loving.
what was the vote? Do you recall what the vote was?
Yeah, everybody except the dude from Louisiana. Everybody except the dude from Louisiana.
So by your calculations, 9 out of 10 of those people that voted for it are raping kids.
I said the powerful ones. I said
so you're not powerful if you're in Congress? I think, listen, man. I understand it. I understand it's upsetting.
That's perspective, bro.
But I think you need to take a deep breath. I do.
I think we've been taking deep breaths long enough. The people who run our country are raping kids. They've been raping kids. They need to get out of there. And I don't think you're a good Christian or you love kids. I question
why. Because I don't like a guy comes on the air and I'm not like, oh man, he said Clarence Thomas is raping kids. Like that must be true.
I mean, you should have some kind of discernment at this point. You should care enough about your listeners.
You're looking at discernment. This is what discernment looks like.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You got good discernment. So do you trust Donald Trump with your children?
Yeah, I would. I actually would. I wouldn't be stressed.
I feel sorry for your kids, brother.
I wouldn't be stressed about that.
I feel sorry for your kids, brother.
Okay.
I feel sorry for your children, man.
Hey, thanks.
Have a good day. I'm going to pray for you, man.
Thanks, Mike. I'll pray for you as well. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. Hey, it is Chris Hand here for my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. February's here. Valentine's Day around the corner. Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling is doing something that's pretty cool for it. If you're a new customer and you join their yearly Beehive membership anytime this month, you're automatically entered into their Valentine's Sweetheart Deal giveaway. One winner's getting a relaxing massage from Third Coast Salt. They were just named Wilson County's best and a $100 Visa gift card for a legit dinner date. Not bad. They're doing the live drawing on Friday, February 13th on Facebook Live, so keep an eye out for that. And while we're at it, Tennessee Weather does what Tennessee Weather does. When storms roll in, Busy Bee is ready to help you out. Right now, you can save 40% off a whole home surge protector with repairs, $500 off a whole home water repipe, and everybody knows about this one, the 93 are free mainline clog deal. If they can't clear it, you don't pay. Simple. Call my guys today, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833, busybehvac.com.
Good morning, 9:31 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. And NES is reporting 26,000 customers now still in the dark this morning. And they are the only utility that is reporting big outages like that. Tennessee U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn demanding answers now after the Tennessee Stars investigation found NES, under the leadership of the DEI supporting CEO Teresa Broyles Applin, cut vegetation management services by more than $7 million in 2024 to a level that was far below the national average. The death toll from the winter storm in Tennessee has risen to 23 now. 3 of those deaths are in Davidson County. Police in Mount Juliet responding to calls of a gunfire at the Cedar Creek Marina on Friday night. That's where they discovered somebody had been shot and injured, but they were still looking for the suspect. Channel 4's Amber Giant picks it up from there.
The suspect then barricaded himself on a boat. Now, police say the man fired at officers and they shot back. And while searching the area, officers found a second victim that had been shot and killed by the suspect. No officers were hurt during the shooting.
No word on the extent of the first victim's injuries. Attorney General Pam Bondi saying that federal agents have just arrested 2 more people this morning in connection with the storming of the church in St. Paul, Minnesota. In that announcement, she names the 2 men as Ian Austin and Jerome D'Angelo in what she calls a coordinated attack. And a third Georgia lawmaker accused of lying to collect pandemic unemployment benefits. All of them are Democrats. State Congressman Dexter Sharper now accused of pocketing more than $13,000, even though he was earning money as a lawmaker, a musician, and through a party rental business. The others are Democrat state senators, make that state lawmakers, Sharon Henderson and Karen Bennett. That's the latest news. We've got your weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. If you're dealing with back pain, neck pain, sciatica, herniated, bulging disc, knee pain, numbness in your arms or legs, why? You know you could call the Wellness Institute of Nashville today and get back to a pain-free life. I've been telling you that. Why haven't you made the phone call? You got to make the phone call. Dr. Mitchell and Dr. Ashley, the team is the best, and they're the only office in Tennessee with a brand new device called the HydroWave. It stimulates stem cells for real cellular healing. No surgery, no needles, no opioids. You pair that with non-surgical spinal and knee decompression, and this is as advanced as it gets. They're using anti-gravity machines, robot lasers, and they'll actually take the time to review your MRI and explain what's happening and how to fix it. A pain-free life is within reach, but you got to make the phone call today. 615-246-5009. 615-246-5009. The Wellness Institute of Nashville, online, painisbad.com.
And we've maintained from the very beginning that the American people just deserve the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as it relates to the Epstein files.
Another email shows Democrat fundraisers invited Epstein to an event or to meet privately with Hakeem Jeffries. So Hakeem Jeffries' campaign solicited money from Jeffrey Epstein.
We believe in transparency. We believe in accountability. We believe in due process. And let me be very clear about Stacey Plaskett. She's a woman of great intelligence and a woman of great integrity.
And I got a text from Jeffrey Epstein, who at the time was my constituent, who was sharing information with me.
They've arraigned a Democratic member for taking a phone call from her constituent, Jeffrey Epstein, in the middle of a hearing.
One thing he's clearly doing is changing the subject from a different form of crime, which is child sex trafficking, which Jeffrey Epstein was a mastermind of.
I have a feeling we're going to learn about how deeply tied into the left Epstein really was.
Hey, this is Pastor Allen. Join us on Super Talk 99.7, Sunday evenings from 7 to 8. We're going to look at the news from a biblical perspective.
It's 9:40 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You're welcome to join the show, 615-737-9986. I've been reading through the text messages from our last call with Mike. I don't think Mike's a bad guy. I think Mike is rightfully upset with everything that we've been seeing going on with the Epstein files. I'm not mad at Mike for being angry. But we do need to, take a deep breath as we're looking at this information and make sure that we're not lambasting somebody or going after somebody that did nothing wrong. 3 million files. Not everything could be corroborated. I mean, there's a bit of discernment that you need when you're looking at the Epstein files. I don't blame Mike for being upset. I think he has every right to be upset. Bobby, you're up next on Super Talk. What's going on, Bobby? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, Chris. Hope everybody had a good weekend. Hey, your last caller there, he said he was going to pray for you. Hey, I'm going to pray for him.
Likewise,
because,
man.
I was listening to him there, Chris, and he was like he was trying to reel you in. He was talking real soft and everything to begin with. And then all of a sudden, it's like, I can picture him right now. I'm just looking outside my window. He's getting upset. His blood vessels are getting big in his head, and he's just ready to bust. And he was like he was taking it out on you, like you had something to do with it. But here's the situation, Chris. They're not going to release all them files. And the reason it's sad, and I hope and pray that everything that's been done, the guilty ones, I hope they get every one of them and throw them under the jail. Every one, Democrat, Republican, or whatever.
Likewise.
But this has been going on for a long time. You can go back a couple of presidents. Nothing was really said too much about it. You and I both know, and some of your callers and listeners know, that this boils down to one thing: Donald Trump. They seen a picture of Donald Trump, and they want to go after Donald Trump. You don't hear anything about the Hollywood elite. You don't hear anything about Bill Gates. The thing of it is, they're not going to release it, Chris, because there's too many people, wealthy people, involved in that, and they've been paying a lot of money to keep it hush-hush. And, that's all I got to say. And Mikey, I think Mikey hasn't been living in the state of Tennessee too long. He sounded like he may be from Cali or something. But, Mikey, I'm going to pray for you, brother. Chris, what's your intake, brother?
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate the call as always, Bobby. I think Mike has every right to be upset, and I think a lot of Americans are upset with the way that the Trump administration has handled the Epstein files, with the way the DOJ has handled the Epstein files. But none of that actually means that Donald Trump is implicated in the Epstein files. There could be a number of reasons why they're not releasing some of this information. Part of me wonders, how much was our own CIA or Mossad involved in these blackmail operations? I mean, that's a big question. But every random thing that you see doesn't necessarily mean that it's true. I tried to make the point to Mike, like, buddy, I could send an email to Mason and said, hey, that caller, Mike, definitely raping kids. And then if Cumulus ever got audited and they ever pull all of our emails and that comes up in a trove of information, that doesn't mean he did it. It just it doesn't. The dump, though, was wild. And there's a lot of things in there that are raising a lot of blood pressure. Again, the only things that I've seen that were actually like true reactions from the Epstein files was overseas, when you had the Slovakian National Security Advisor resigning and Lord Mandelson of the Labour Party in the UK resigning. Other than that, we haven't seen any actionable items since the drop on Friday. Dave on the road, you're up next on Super Talk. What's up, Dave?
Hey, good morning. I thought you handled that call real well. I spent over 20 years in the Army, and he upset me with two big things, and one was the Constitution says that you are innocent until proven guilty. That makes us different than any other nation. Second of all, if he kept hitting that he's a Christian and I'm a Christian, you're supposed to love thy neighbor, and he went after all the minorities. And I'm a white guy that grew up in Chicago, but served most of my time down in the South from 72 to now. And I just had a hard time believing that that was being spit out of a Christian's mouth. And I'll leave it at that. Thank you, sir. I enjoyed your call.
Well, Dave, I appreciate your call as well. Let's go to Matt in Nashville. What's up, Matt?
Hey, good morning. A lot to unpack with that phone call. I mean, there's so many things. He's not wrong in the sense that Republicans, conservatives sit on their hands and we don't fly off the handle or get upset and make change that way. I don't think as a group of people we don't do that. Now, I like his passion and I understand where he's coming from, but he's what, and I hate to say but, that call could be an explicit and specific example of why people think people on the right are loud and crazy. He was upset. You could hear it in his voice. He wouldn't let up, but it could easily be an example for somebody else on the left to say, well, look, this is what conservatives do right here. They eat their own. He's not wrong. I wish he would be able to present himself, keep himself calm, and have these conversations with even his own peers, which I don't think he probably surrounded himself with many people who are willing to have a discussion with him.
Well, that's one of the things. That's one of the things that was bugging me the most. It's like, okay, I fully admit I did not have enough time to read all 3 million files, and I don't think anybody had that time. But if you found something interesting that you think is incriminating, tell me about it. And then when you go off about Clarence Thomas raping kids, but you don't have anything to back it up, like that, we can't just slang mud like that. Like there's
so then the other.
People have lives and families, and like we need more information before we just run off at the mouth and say that.
Yeah, I agree. So the other part of that is it defines the society we're living in. You get on social media, you read a headline, and you take that for a fact. And you were making that point as well. If you email Cumulus and say, or Mason and say yada yada yada, it doesn't make it true. It's an accusation. And at the time when you were talking with Mike, it made me think of. And now his name, the Supreme Court with that Christy Coney Barrett or whatever her name was.
Amy Coney Barrett.
Amy Coney Barrett, yeah. She was making up that stuff about him live on TV under oath, and people took that for gospel, which it was all debunked. So people can say and will say anything to get people just to repeat it. You got to be careful with the social media stuff because it is not, it's AI generated, or its intent is to.
Oh,
just like Mike.
We have definitely crossed the threshold where it's like you can't believe what your eyes see at this point. Like, you know, I was in a lot of threads over the weekend, you know, diving into Epstein files, and it's like, okay, you'd see a screenshot of what looks like an email, and you go, okay, where's the link to this in the Justice Department file drop? And then nobody would provide a link, and it would later come out, oh, this was artificially created. This isn't real. This is a fake email. And how many of those are flying around the internet right now? Millions of them. Are you kidding?
Exactly
like
right.
they're everywhere. So
and to your point, you even said when you were speaking with Mike, if there were something there, if there were a smoking gun, if there were anything, even just the smallest scintilla of anything, the Biden administration would have sunk Trump on it.
Yep, absolutely. The Democrats wouldn't have
logically.
They wouldn't have wasted that opportunity. They threw everything but the kitchen sink at him, but they wouldn't have used this accusation of a 13-year-old girl saying that Trump raped her. Like, no, of course they would have used that. Of course they would have.
Hey, appreciate you, brother.
Hey, appreciate you as well. I think that the Democrats are going to be running away from this one very, very quickly because they still have a bit of an issue with Bill Clinton out there in the wild and Hillary Clinton ignoring the subpoena. Jamie Raskin doesn't want you to think that that's a big deal.
Will you vote yes?
I mean, I will vote yes on contempt against them and anybody else as long as Pam Bondi is part of it.
So you vote no on the Clinton?
I will definitely vote no on any partisan measure.
So subpoenaing the Clintons is a partisan measure, according to Jamie Raskin. The Democrats are running away from this because there is nothing I've seen that implicates Donald Trump. And I'm open to the evidence if it is out there. I 100%. If he is involved, he should go down too. And I think that we've made that point on the show, but it's important to continue to make that point. I don't think he is. Bill Clinton, on the other hand, like we all know what's going on with that. And Jamie Raskin says he's not even going to support a subpoena for them to go have to speak in front of the House Oversight Committee. He didn't have that same energy with Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro.
You're subpoenaed to testify in court or in Congress, you show up, period. So we must enforce the rule of law here, my colleagues. We must do it. If you act deliberately with sneering, cavalier contempt for the American people and their representatives, we will hold you in contempt.
Unless you have a D right next to your name. If that's the case, you're good to go. 9:51, this is Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at United Structural Systems. The ice is finally melting. It turns into water. Spoiler alert, in case you didn't pay attention in science class. And where's that water go? Into your crawl space, into your basement. And here's the reality. That water damage, not going to fix itself. Foundation problems, which will come if you ignore the water damage, they don't get cheaper to fix. And waiting is only going to make things worse. If your water's getting into your basement or crawl space, you need to call people you can trust. This is where United Structural Systems enters the chat. USS has been serving Tennessee since 1994. They specialize in waterproofing and foundation repair, and they send experts to your home, not sales guy. The experts will track down where the water's coming in and install permanent solutions using American-made materials backed by a lifetime transferable warranty. No scare tactics, no temporary fixes, just real straightforward answers and solutions that hold up and stand the test of time. If you're seeing moisture, cracks, doors that won't shut right, now is the time to act. Call United Structural Systems, 615-488-7855, 615-488-7855, or visit them online, USSTN.com.
Up ahead, power outages and broken water mains. Nashville is a mess right now, and Savannah Guthrie's mom is missing, and a homicide team has been called to the scene. That and more at 10 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. We had a caller a little while ago who said the lady that was making up all that stuff about Justice Kavanaugh, and he said Amy Coney Barrett. And I don't know why, I just totally brain farted. He was talking about Christine Blasey Ford. Christine Blasey Ford. Shout out to the text line. Most important member of the crew. We got Mason Fleming producing, Joan Jones in the newsroom. But you guys on the phone lines and the text line, always coming through. Steven on the road. What's up, man? How are you?
Hey, man, I hope everybody gets thawed out and dried out. I've been down here in southern Louisiana driving around, man. It's nice and sunshiny, so I hope the best for everybody up there.
I love it. I love it. What are your thoughts on the Epstein file?
Oh, man. You know, I think one day when I'm about 85 years old, I'm probably finally going to come to a conclusion on at least one of these people that's in all this mess. I mean, it's ridiculous, man. I mean, one thing's for sure that it does tell us that all these people and all this stuff, there probably is some solid proof, some truth to some of it, but a lot of it's garbage. And the investigators in the FBI, it does show that FBI is corrupt and has been corrupted for a long time, because if there was anything solid enough to pull anybody in to do anything, with all this time they've had this stuff, they haven't once pulled any of these people in. So now we're going to see the masses of people in this country online, on the internet. Everybody's going to be the investigator. Everybody's going to point fingers. Everybody's going to have a piece to say. But I think it's going to be a long time before we get anybody in there. The only thing I can say is I think once they do pull one of these guys in there for the first time, and they can get a victim in front of them, and we can all get a better picture of what went down, how it went down, what the process was, how screwed up it really was, then we can get some closure. We can finally see. But to me, man, I mean, it's just garbage, dude. It just shows the FBI is lacking, and they've been failing for a long time.
Yep, I'm 100%. And speaking of the FBI, and I know Bongino comes back to the airwaves. What is it? Is it today? I think he comes back today. Or tomorrow? Is it tomorrow? One of the two.
Yeah,
I'm curious why there was no information in this latest Epstein file drop that definitively proved what he said during that interview with Maria Bartiromo, that he saw the proof that Epstein killed himself, and it's there, and no questions asked, take his word for it. Why haven't we seen that proof?
Yeah, that's I don't know. Bongino, he's a stand-up guy, and he's served our country in a lot of ways, and he's spoken out for a lot of people, and I don't know, man. I'm starting to lose faith in a few of the Trump appointed people, and I'm not trying to be, against females. Let me just say this. I would like to see Tulsi Gabbard become our next president. And, it don't matter who the vice president is, but I think Tulsi Gabbard would be a great president because she's kind of that middle group. But, as far as Bondi and all the rest of them, I'm starting to lose faith in them, and I don't think they have exactly what they need for their position.
No, I'm with you 100%. Bondi has been an absolute train wreck. Kash Patel hasn't been much better. And with Bondi and the Epstein files, I mean, let's all be honest. This is a mess of their own making, and it has been since they originally dropped the Phase 1 binders. It sucks, but they stepped in it on their own free will. Now people want the information. People deserve the information. But more than the info, we want accountability. All of these elites that were doing this need to be held accountable. Like yesterday. It's 10 o'clock. Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Under pressure from an angry public and a rising death toll, NES says it's bringing on 500 more linemen in the next few days to hurry up the restoration process. NES still has 26,000 customers roughly without power this morning. It's down from 230,000 at the height of the storm. We're also learning this morning that Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell has created a commission to review how prepared NES was for this storm and the decisions made to handle the catastrophic damage that it caused. Some folks in West Nashville may be waking up without power this morning or without water. Make that too. That's because of a water main break at Charlotte Pike and Brook Hollow Road.
So this is out there in the Hillwood area. Metro Water Services saying we could see much more of this, unfortunately, as thawing begins following the winter storm.
That's Channel 4's Holly Thompson. That intersection is flooded and the road is buckled. Crews will begin digging, but only after they get clearance from the gas company. This could take a while to fix. You can check out where water outages are by Googling Nashville water outage. DHS says the way that its ICE operations in West Virginia went down was textbook perfect. In 2 weeks, officers arrested more than 650 illegal aliens. They had the help of local law enforcement agencies, and they had no protests. ICE says that among those arrested, a convicted child sex abuser, a Chinese man previously convicted of endangering the welfare of children, an Indian man illegally operating a tractor trailer, and others. Some of the federal government shut down today as Congress works on a funding bill amid the ongoing debate over how ICE and Border Patrol operate.
The package would fully fund the Pentagon, HHS, the Departments of Labor, Transportation, and Education through the end of the fiscal year, but only provide 2 more weeks of funding for DHS. Last Friday, it passed the Senate 71 to 29. But it could prove much trickier to pass in the House, with conservative Republicans and progressive Democrats indicating they're not on board.
That's ABC's Stephen Portnoy. The elderly mother of NBC Today's show, Savannah Guthrie, is missing. Arizona police are saying 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie was last seen Saturday evening at her home north of Tucson. Interestingly, the police department's spokesperson says the homicide division was called to the scene.
You know, it's not standard. Typically, our homicide team comes out when we have a homicide, a body. This one was a fake crime simply because of what the scene was telling us.
Yeah, they won't say what exactly caused them to call for the homicide team. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. You can listen to us anywhere. iHeart, TuneIn, the FM dial. You can watch us. YouTube and Rumble are the big ones. Hit like, hit subscribe. You're going to see some of the videos that we got lined up for you here in this segment. The videos always add something. A lot of protests over the weekend, all over the place. The big ones, Portland, L.A., Minneapolis. New poll actually just dropped, finding Minnesotans want Democrat leaders to assist ICE and President Trump with arresting illegal aliens by a plus 14 margin. Help ICE comes in at 50%. Don't help comes in at 36%. But the people are very upset. All the paid agitators are out and about doing all the things that they do. And I saw this one video. I don't know. This is from L.A., and a lot of people are making the comment that the paid protesters in L.A. are actually actors looking for their next big role, and that videos like this are going to make it onto their demo reel.
Deportation! Up with liberation! Down with deportation!
If you're not watching us on Super Talk TV, you're missing what appears to be a lovely, a lovely young 20-something-year-old with just a mean mug. She appears to be Asian of some sort, and she is marching, and she is angry, and she is expressive. She is just like, I mean, how would you describe her? Like a break dancer with no cardboard and rhythm, like just waving her arms and flailing them. She's very angry. She wasn't the only one. She was not the only one. They were out in Minnesota as well. And in Minnesota, they wanted everybody to know how oppressed they are. CNN was out there in Minnesota, and they asked a lady, "Hey, why is it that you're out here?" And well, this is the leftist woman's answer.
Message to the people who are not here in Minneapolis and Minnesota, who haven't experienced what people who have been living here have been experiencing.
Believe what you see, not what you're told, not what you hear. Take the evidence and make your own judgment about it. And know that we are all people and we are all oppressed.
Deep thoughts with your average leftist. We're all people and we are all oppressed. Also, believe what you see and not what you're told. Fun fact, I did the exact same thing with the Renee Nicole Good shooting. And people online call me a bigot for it. So there's that. We're all oppressed. We're all oppressed people. Donald Trump was asked about the protests over the weekend. Some of them got a bit hectic. In Minnesota, there was a video going around where it showed this line of protesters going down the street, and then immediately after, they go back down that street after the protesters have gone through, and every single vehicle had their windows busted open. Like 60-plus vehicles down this street where the mostly peaceful protesters were going. Every single vehicle had their window busted open in a mostly peaceful, legal observer kind of way. And Donald Trump was asked about the protesters, and Trump is like, if they do anything stupid, I hope that they get hurt. Essentially, this was President Trump last night.
Protests. What did you mean when you said people will suffer an equal or greater consequence?
If they do anything bad to our people, they will have to suffer. I'm sorry. If they start spitting in people's faces, punching our people, punching our soldiers, our patriots, they will get taken care of in at least an equal way. They're not going to do that. Like, you see it, the way they treat our people. And I said, you're allowed, if somebody does that, you can do something back. You're not going to stand there and take it. If somebody spits in your face, that will not be a pleasant thing for the person that spits. We're not letting people spit in our soldiers' face as they stand at attention, and they're not allowed to do anything. If they throw bricks at a car, at one of our vehicles, that are very expensive vehicles, they're going to be met with very, very serious force.
Sir, do you think it's good?
I'm here for it. And I think that we do need to meet those radical leftist insurrectionists, insurgents with that force. There was a report from over the weekend of an ICE agent getting assaulted and ambushed in Minneapolis at a Mexican restaurant. Countless leftists just surrounding this poor guy. We need to have the full force of the federal government coming down on these leftist lunatics. We really do. And why are they acting this way? It's because they feel empowered, not just by the mainstream media, the leftist propaganda arm of the Democrat Party, but also by the elected officials who are essentially telling them, gosh, gee whiz, you're freedom fighters. This was Hakeem Jeffries yesterday.
ICE agents should conduct themselves like every other law enforcement agency in the country, as opposed to running around mass thugs, in many instances, unleashing brutality on law-abiding American citizens and violently targeting immigrant families and communities, or even, holding in detention a 5-year-old boy with a superhero backpack.
Oh my God, not a superhero backpack. He leaves out the part about the 5-year-old where his deadbeat dad fled the scene of an immigration enforcement operation and left the 5-year-old behind. And then the ICE agents had to calm the boy down by playing his favorite songs on their iPhones and taking him to McDonald's for a Happy Meal. They left that part out. They also left out the weird part where I believe that they drugged this poor kid at the ICE facility. He wouldn't wake up while these Democrat lawmakers were going to meet him, and he looked like he was on a heavy dose of Benadryl. Just my opinion, but that's what it looked like to me. You have these politicians ginning people up and saying all of this, oh, they're unleashing brutality. What about the protesters who knocked out like 60-plus car windows down a street? Nothing to do with anything. That's not unleashing brutality. What about when they're ripping down the fences outside these ICE facilities? What happens when they're throwing bricks at these vehicles? That's not unleashing brutality. Is that George Soros unleashing brutality? The ICE agents are out there responding to what they see on the ground. If there was nobody out there throwing bricks at them, there'd be no American citizens getting detained or pepper sprayed. Yet here we are. It's not just the leaders; it's all their heroes too. Over the weekend, we had the Grammys, the Grammy Awards, and I didn't watch it, and I'm sure you didn't either. I kind of forgot that it was on. We talked about it a little bit on Friday. I was like looking at the record of the year and album of the year. I'm like, I don't even know who these people are.
Yeah, I totally forgot that they were happening.
Well, Billie Eilish, she won some award. I don't know what she won. It was Record of the Year, Album of the Year, something. And Billie Eilish wanted to yell F ICE and make a political statement.
No one is illegal on stolen land.
Stunning and brave.
And yeah, it's just really hard to know what to say and what to do right now. And I feel really hopeful in this room, and I feel like we just need to keep fighting and speaking up and protesting, and our voices really do matter, and the people matter. And I say sorry.
They bleeped out F ICE. If you're watching this on Super Talk TV, you'll notice that there's like a dual frame on the video, right? It's her acceptance speech, and then right above it, you'll see her $14 million mansion that is on stolen land that she should obviously give back to Native American tribes, or at the very least invite illegal aliens to live there with her. We'll keep you updated as soon as she does that. I'm sure that we're going to get a press release today, right? That she's either given her home back or that she has opened it up for everyone. I can't wait for that. I'm sure that that's coming. This is who's ginning up the radical left. You have these mainstream media celebrities, you have these politicians, you have the media, and then you have the boots on the ground, the ICE agents, dealing with the aftermath. And people in Minnesota aren't helping them. In fact, the Minnesota authorities don't even care what's happening to their own Minnesotan citizens. I saw a video that was unbelievable. Americans are calling for police in Minnesota to raid a bunch of leftists who were stopping out-of-state vehicles to run their plates. If you're watching on Super Talk TV, you'll notice a Minnesota neighborhood with a makeshift road blockade where they're stopping you if you have out-of-state plates, so that way they can run them, apparently through their ICE Watch database, and find out if you're a federal official or not. And these guys are just jumping in the middle of the road with pallets and saying, stop right there. Nobody seems to care. Minnesota authorities don't care. Nobody's stopping this kind of behavior. It's just good to go. Insanity. Absolute insanity. And while the leftists are doing this, good Americans are just calling for law and order. Caroline Leavitt was on, what was she on over the weekend? This was Fox News with Maria Bartiromo.
The president.
And she said, we want law and order. The president was voted in on law and order, and we want our ICE agents to be able to do their jobs.
The president, nobody in the Trump administration nor the White House wants to see Americans losing their lives. What we want is law and order. What we want is for the brave men and women of law enforcement to be able to do their jobs and carry out lawful immigration enforcement operations without being demonized, spit on, without their vehicles being kicked in by agitators, many of whom are paid. And I know the FBI and Department of Justice are looking into these organized crime rings of these leftist agitators who have been attacking our law enforcement in a very sophisticated manner.
Well, I hope that those investigations bear some fruit. But in the meantime, we still have the leftist spin machine known as the mainstream media and all of their minions pushing a completely different narrative, having their favorite political hosts on to talk about it. Chris Murphy wanted to talk about it over the weekend. He actually went on Fox News. Credit to him for going on Fox News with Shannon Bream. But he brought up some stats. And Shannon Bream was like, those stats are completely incorrect.
Come on. We're still pretending that ICE is going after dangerous people. They aren't. Right now, 70% of the people that they are detaining have absolutely no criminal record. What is happening...
DHS says 70% of those they're arresting, and that's their number, do have some kind of criminal record.
What is happening in Minnesota right now is a dystopia. ICE is tear gassing elementary schools. It is disappearing legal residents into cars. It is murdering American citizens. ICE is making this country less safe, not more safe today.
They're not tear gassing any elementary schools. That's just demonstrably false. There have been demonstrations outside high schools in Minnesota where tear gas had to be deployed because the crowds were unruly, but they're not tear gassing elementary schools. Shannon Bream says that your 70% stat is off. 70% of those they're arresting, that's DHS's number, do have some kind of criminal record. And other departments have confirmed this. In Florida, it was like Sheriff Grady Judd said 70% of them have some sort of criminal record. The other, almost 30%, they're in the car with them. Weird. But this is what we get from leftists and leftist politicians. Over the weekend, there were protests in Los Angeles. Mayor Karen Bass jumped on CNN to talk with Abby Phillips about it. And as they're playing the riot footage on the side screen on CNN, and you're seeing an ICE facility completely under siege by these leftist rioters, Mayor Karen Bass is on CNN with this video playing next to her saying, everything's under control. We're doing fine in LA. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here.
Well, I can tell you that the situation is under control, but it is ongoing.
And you can see in the video items being hurled at ICE agents at this ICE facility in LA. Things are under control. This is good.
And there was a interaction that was violent for a minute. But it was brought under control. First, you had the federal officers defending the federal building, and they acted in the beginning, and they dispersed tear gas. Then when it moved into the street, then of course the Los Angeles Police Department takes over. There is a show of force there, but so far they have been managing it. I think it's down to about 150 people, and they're kind of scattered around one particular intersection. So I think that it will end okay, but we are on a tactical alert right now in our city, and all of this is unnecessary. We have to go back to the origin of all of these protests. Nobody would be protesting now in the street if Minneapolis hadn't happened. We wouldn't have had protests in Los Angeles if they hadn't invaded us.
I think the origin of this, though, isn't the invasion of L.A. or the invasion of Minneapolis. No. The origin of this is the invasion of America. When Joe Biden left our border wide open and completely undefended for 4 years. All of the leftists that are mad today about immigration enforcement operations, you can go right back to Joe Biden saying the border's secure while letting everyone in. Also, Karen Bass has a lot bigger problems. She wakes up every morning and she's got Donald J. Trump living rent-free in her head, yet thousands of homes are still not being rebuilt via the Palisades fire. Lydia Moynihan made that point on the same program with Abby Phillips over the weekend.
Let's talk about Karen Bass for a minute, too. She said she wakes up every day worried about Donald Trump. I mean, 7,000 houses burned down, and she was in Ghana last year. I think she should wake up every day trying to get those houses rebuilt. There's only been 10 that have been rebuilt. LA is a disaster. I was there last week. RVs lining the street because there's 200,000 people who don't have homes. I'm very tired, especially of Mamdani and Bass opining on all of these national issues when their cities need people who are managing what's going on the street.
Lydia Moynihan is absolutely correct. You hear Jamel Hill jump in. She goes, I live in L.A. It's great. Yeah, we expected you to say something like that. We'll talk about L.A. on the way. You know who's in California today? Maybe you've heard of him. Nick Shirley is in California. We'll talk about that when we get back. It's 10:23. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at Zero Res Nashville. I love these guys. We use them all the time, and you can imagine my carpets go through you-know-what. With 4 kids and 2 dogs, somebody is always tracking something in, whether it's dirt, whether it's salt, whether it's sand. Something is coming into the house that shouldn't be there. Even though we ask the kids to take their shoes off before they come in, they never do. They never do. And our carpets take the brunt of that. We used to stress out. We used to be like, oh, man, these rugs are so expensive. Now we don't. We just call Zero Res Nashville. They use their exclusive ZR water. This is the Maha of carpet cleaning. No soap, no harsh chemicals, no residue. The carpets, the upholstery aren't just going to look insanely clean. They're going to stay clean longer. And then the kids, the pets, they can all roll around on the carpet. We don't have to worry about what's in the fiber. It's not just carpets. They do the works. Air ducts, tile, rugs, upholstery. It is perfect for any room in your house. If you need to clean the floors, you need to clean the carpets, you need to call Zero Res. 615-535-9376. 615-535-9376. Or you can book online, ZeroResNashville.com.
Winter storms always lead to potholes and water main breaks, and this time is no exception. Also, a surprise announcement from the Predators. That and more at 10:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. It's 10:27. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Nick Shirley is finding his way down to California. People are very panicked. Very panicked. Did you see that they packed up the Quality Leering Center? Did you see that?
The Quality Leering?
The Quality Leering Center in Minneapolis.
Good.
They packed it up with a U-Haul over the weekend as a direct result of the reporting that we saw from Nick Shirley. All those kids, no more leering. No more leering. And apparently it looks like we're gonna have some Californian Quality Leering Centers being shut down relatively soon too. The team with Nick Shirley has teamed up with a California woman by the name of Amy Reichart. She is the chairwoman of Restore San Diego, and there's pictures of her floating around online with Nick Shirley. She tweeted, "California, here we come." She was on with Jesse Waters Friday night.
After what's been exposed with the daycares in Minnesota, I'm a licensed private investigator in California. I started looking into state records, and I found ghost daycares. These are places where the state inspectors showed up. There would be 28 kids enrolled, and there were no kids there in the middle of the day and in the middle of the week.
All right, so a ghost daycare. Is that something Gavin Newsom could say, all right, we'll try to shut that down? Does he cooperate when you start raising this?
No, in fact, today it got word from the governor's office. There's been a directive to actually shut down public access. So right now you can't even search the own state website to look into these ghost daycares, but I have found a workaround.
Okay, well, we don't want to tell the governor that you found a workaround. But it does sound like he's trying to cover his tracks, like this is a cover-up.
We're talking about billions of dollars in California. Today in New York, Kathy Hochul, she said she wants to increase child care subsidies to $4.5 billion. We're talking about the same amount in California, if not even more.
And it's going away because of fraud. Nick Shirley on the ground in California. That is going to be an explosive video, but we're still learning more about Minnesota and the fraud that's happening there. David Hoke was on Fox News over the weekend. He's going to be testifying in front of Congress on Wednesday. I'll bring you what he said about the fraud in Minneapolis and why he thinks it's closer to $100 billion, not the $19 billion that President Trump has been talking about. We'll talk about that when we get back. 10:30, Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell now calling NES's power restoration efforts unacceptable. Among other changes, NES says it's hiring 500 more linemen in the next couple of days.
NES released a restoration timeline over the weekend, and for some zip codes, they estimate the power won't be fully restored until next Monday, February 9th. NES is posting updated timelines twice a day at nespower.com. The utility also launched My Outage Tracker, which allows customers to enter their home address and see whether power is on or off and whether a crew is currently assigned to the outage.
That's News 2's Peyton Kennedy. There are still nearly 26,000 outages. You want to avoid Charlotte Pike at Brook Hollow Road this morning. That's the scene of a water main break that has flooded the area.
Right now, workers tell me that they're waiting to get a clearance from the gas company so they can start digging and get in there to fix the issue, but they have to get that clearance because they don't know what's underneath there.
Fox 17's Chris Knowles, businesses and homes in that area in West Nashville have no water service this morning. Happening just a little while ago, Predators general manager Barry Trotz is retiring, says he'll stay on the job until a successor is found. And at the box office over the weekend,
here we go again.
Melania, the documentary, had the highest opening of a non-music documentary in more than a decade, bringing in $7 million. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
This is a paid endorsement by a current client.
Hey, it's Chris Hand here with my friend Paul Winkler. Okay, so this is a kind of like a personal question for me.
All right.
How do you invest when you don't trust Washington and you don't trust Wall Street?
Well, number one, you're not really investing in Washington. You're investing in all the great companies that make the cool things that we use every day. And the big thing I tell people is make sure you diversify internationally. Investment firms and advisors often focus way too much attention on domestic stocks when historically international does as well, if not better, and it can help reduce risk as well. Now, if Washington screws up, the company's going to move overseas and you'll still own them. On the Wall Street thing, I don't trust them either. When I was a broker, we were told so many things that were just wrong just to try to sell things that people didn't need. The solution there is just to work with somebody like us.
Jump on the website, set up that 15-minute phone call at any of their offices around Middle Tennessee. Go to paulwinkler.com.
Go to paulwinkler.com.
Tim Leeper Roofing is one of the largest roof repair companies in Middle Tennessee. We see thousands of homes each year to assess damages and make a professionally trained diagnosis on how to waterproof your home. Because your home is too important to trust it to untrained professionals, visit us at timleeperroofing.com and schedule your appointment today.
We've got you covered. Tim Leeper Roofing.
I'm WSMV4 First Alert meteorologist Stefano DiPietro. Warmer today with temperatures back in the 40s this afternoon. That's under plenty of sunshine. Tonight, chilly. We're down near freezing for the overnight low. Tomorrow, we're back in the 40s. You'll want to keep the umbrella handy as we do get some scattered rain showers in the afternoon and heading into the evening. It will then be colder on Wednesday, but we'll clear things out, get some sunshine back. We are back in the 30s on Wednesday, back near 40 by Thursday, and then Friday we'll have some good sunshine, and we're in the 50s.
It's 1037, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by Better Water LLC. Water filtration systems, water softeners. You get those at betterwater.com. You can listen to the show anywhere. iHeart, tune in the FM dial. You can watch us, Super Talk TV, YouTube and Rumble are the big ones. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, also there. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. California Democrats are panicking. Nick Shirley is in town. And they're going to start looking into everything. They're not going to have to look far either. They're not. I got some audio here. An IG report found that California had spent, just millions of dollars on free phones for people, and then they found out that 94,000 of those phones went to dead people. I mean, at least they're not making long-distance calls.
More fraud has been uncovered in California. It seems like every day discoveries are made. According to the Federal Communications Commission Inspector General, the state of California approved free phone and internet service for more than 94,000 dead people. Your tax dollars at work, folks. California misused $3.8 million in federal funds meant for low-income Americans so that deceased Americans could have free internet. Of all the fraud found in this program, 81% came from California.
Weird.
Due to our state's proven lack of management and leadership expertise, the FCC has now revoked California's authority to manage this program. I will continue shining a light on fraud in California. Be sure to follow me.
I think shining a light on fraud in California is going to be one of the easiest things that you can do. What is it? What's the old saying? Shooting fish in a barrel? I think that's going to be the fraud in California. Benny Johnson is also out there, and he's diving into the homeless industrial complex.
The billions of dollars spent in this state, $24 billion spent on homelessness. It's $170,000 per homeless person spent in this state. Look at that. That's a guy's house right there. You live right there. You're moving because you can't take all the homeless.
Yeah.
Your children live here.
Yeah, it's not part for the street.
Oh, of course that it's not safe. Look at that barbed wire. You're living in a war zone. This is all about trafficking in human misery. Look at this.
It's 10 cities.
So that's what we are going to be investigating. California has poured $31 billion of state and federal tax dollars into fighting homelessness over the past few years. That adds up to $170,000 per homeless person. For perspective, that's more than the median price of a home in West Virginia. That's more than the total GDP of 91 different countries. So what's the result of this astronomical spending?
More homeless people, actually. That's been the result. They've helped a few people. They spent the $23 billion, and I think that they helped 22 people stop being unhoused. 22. What? I think that there's a reason. I don't think that they want to fix the homeless problem. I think that in many ways, okay, so let me back up. When gay marriage got legalized, you had all of these NGOs, these nonprofits that were fighting for the legalization of gay marriage, right? And then when it got legalized, they didn't have anything else to fight for. And you had all of these nonprofits and all of these NGOs and all of these CEOs with these $250,000 salaries, and they go, well, what do we do now? And they quickly pivoted and they went to the transgender rights issues because they had to keep that money coming in. I'm of the opinion that they're not going to make that same mistake with the homelessness problem, meaning they don't really have any intention to fix it because the money is too good. That's California. Nick Shirley's in town. They're going to be digging into the daycares as well. I'm looking forward to seeing what comes out of California because I think it's going to be eye-opening, and I think it could end the presidential hopes for one Gavin Newsom. However, never underestimate a Democrat's ability to fail upwards. We've seen it time and time and time and time and time again. So I wouldn't be shocked to see it here. Back in Minnesota, David Hawk, who is the legendary David from the Nick Shirley videos, he is once again blowing the whistle, and he's making the statement that the fraud that we're seeing in Minnesota actually totals closer to $100 billion, not the $19 billion that President Trump has been floating around. He said this over the weekend to one Kayleigh McEnany.
Well, it's just more of the same. I mean, she's part of the whole this whole fraud supporting network.
Referencing Amy Klobuchar, who is now running for governor in the great state of Minnesota, don't you know?
She knows all about it. I've been contacting her for years about this fraud. She's never done a single thing about it. And, you know, in her defense, the Republicans haven't done a whole lot either. And so I'm really disappointed in all the elected officials from Minnesota because, you know, I've been running down this middle of the street with my hair on fire going, look at this fraud. And I put the number at 80 to $100 billion in Minnesota alone, going back to 1988. And you're going to find out that I'm right. And see how the number keeps ratcheting up? It was $250 million, then it was $1 billion, then it was $9 billion, now it's $18 billion. And I said, you got to keep going because you have to include all of these city money, county money, state money, federal money, grants, NGOs, all of these things that are part of this fraud. That's where all that money in those suitcases at the airport's coming from. Just stop giving them the money and all those problems go away.
Stop giving them money and problems go away. He mentioned all the cash at the airports. There's a lot of cash going out of Somali airports. Kayleigh McEnany also did a bit of a dive on that over the weekend as well. The amount of money that is going out of Minnesota's airport is staggering. Then when you compare it to other airports in the country, like a New York or an Atlanta, it really does blow your mind. And then you look and you go, okay, well, is there any other airports in this country that is moving out the amount of cash that is being moved out of the country in Minneapolis? And you go, oh, yeah, there's one. And you go, where? Columbus, Ohio. Oh, what do they have in common with Minneapolis? Well, it happens to be the Somalis. This was Kayleigh McEnany on Saturday in America on Fox News.
Now to a Saturday in America investigation. Our team has been talking to DHS officials all week, and we have learned that $700 million in cash was flown out of Minneapolis by Somali couriers in the past 2 years.
$700 million.
Roughly $350 million a year for 2024 and 2025. Now, to put that into perspective, that number is 10 to 1 compared to bigger airports like JFK and DFW. And we are told that they were about 3 to 4 million a year, quite a difference. But it's not just Minnesota. It's also happening in Columbus, Ohio, where officials tell us that since 2023, $136 million in bulk cash was flown from Columbus to Somalia.
That's a little weird. So New York, it's like 3 million gets moved out a year. But in Minnesomalia, it's like 350 million a year. And then the only other airport that's even remotely close to Minneapolis just so happens to be the other airport that all the Somalis are flying in and out of. 136 million. It's got to be a coincidence. Probably not worth looking into. Unfortunately for the left, the FBI is continuing to look into it. Kash Patel. Now, we've talked about the FBI. We've talked about their shortcomings, and we've talked about the way that they've handled the Epstein files. That being said, when you hear Kash Patel say that arrests are coming, which you're about to hear him say, do you feel confident that arrests are coming? This was Kash Patel on the fraud in Minnesota.
Well, thankfully, every state does not have this problem. I don't have another statistic to give you where we arrested 75 individuals in one summer for hundreds of millions of dollars of fraud related to a program that's supposed to feed malnourished children in underprivileged families. So I don't know what he's talking about. That's pushing it under the rug. And also, a fraud of this size, there should be state and local authorities alerting the FBI early on and participating in our investigation. We went up there and did it with the federal authorities and the DOJ. And we've continued to ask those in Minnesota and around the country of any information on this to let us know, because this investigation is not over. The size of the fraud continues to be exposed, and there will be more arrests coming.
There will be more arrests coming, says the director of the FBI, Kash Patel. Are you confident in that? Does it warm your soul? Or do you go, I've heard that before? Kind of somewhere in the middle. David Hawk continued with Kayleigh McEnany. He said arrests need to come. There needs to be accountability with this fraud.
Well, so actually my testimony is next Wednesday, February 4th, and then I think Ellison and Walls, and I was key in getting them subpoenaed to testify. And, you know, I keep hearing about these money wires and Al-Shabaab and suitcases full of cash, and it's really quite maddening for me because to me, the solution is very simple. the federal government has to go to the Minnesota Department of Human Services and any of the other social service agencies anywhere in the country and say, look, if you're issuing payments using federal dollars in all or part, and it's going to a fraudulent business, you run the risk of federal prosecution. We're going to come in there, we're going to arrest you, we're going to handcuff you, we're going to drag you out, and we're going to bring you in front of the judge, and you're going to prison.
Yeah. Next.
That's the only way that things are going to change. And I think we all know that. There needs to be high-profile charges, a lot of media scrutiny. We need to follow these cases as closely as humanly possible, and we need to make examples out of the people that are perpetuating this fraud. Let's go to Robert in Alabama. What's up, Robert? How are you?
Oh, man, just fine, I guess. The people of Minnesota, the American people of Minnesota, the ones that ain't been shipped in on a plane or crawled across the border at night or something like that. The people of Minnesota, when these little punks, protesters, whatever they want to call, little terrorists, they go down the street. I tell you, the people of Minnesota, I'm thinking to get dark now. They need to be right there, just hide in the shadows until they start coming down the street, tearing everything up. And then go down through there, break their legs. And that way they can complain about the federal law enforcement or,
I mean, the only issue with that is Minnesota would throw the full weight of the law at any individual doing that to these peaceful protesters. But I think you're right. The people of Minnesota want ICE to enforce these operations. We had a new poll drop yesterday that said by 14 points, Minnesotans want Democrat leaders to assist ICE and Trump with arresting these illegals. 50 to 36. I mean, that number doesn't shock me. Does it shock you?
No, it doesn't shock me at all because I know there's American citizens in Minnesota.
Yep.
And Ohio and New York. And get a good Republican judge. Well, they broke some legs and arms, they're all right. We'll just let them go.
Yeah.
Because, they've done the government a service.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see.
I wouldn't be mad if I saw it, but I don't think it's something that we can encourage. I get where you're coming from, though, especially when you see these main character syndrome protesters who think that they're freedom fighters and they're just walking through the streets screaming and yelling and breaking windows and hurling rocks and bricks at ICE agents. Yeah, I get your frustration. I do. At the same time, can't call for violence. It gets a bit dicey when we do that. So we won't. President Trump on the fraud in Minnesota said the biggest problem in our country is that the Democrats are soft on crime. They want to protect the criminal, violent, and vicious, as they may be, at the expense of our great American citizens and patriots. That is not what America is about and never will be. Trump is right again. And when it comes to this fraud, we need to get to the bottom of it. Kash Patel says more arrests are coming. I think we'll believe that when we see it, and I think we need to see more perp walks. We have seen some arrests in Minnesota, the highest profile among them, Don Lemon. However, a couple more of those agitators and rioters inside that church have been arrested. We'll talk about that when we get back. It's 10:51. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
A new city commission is taking shape today after the Nashville mayor and the public are demanding answers from NES. All of that and more coming up at 11 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. The show is brought to you by our friends at Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Hey, MAGA, Don Lemon has a message for you. You ready for this? You've awoken a sleeping giant.
I have so many thoughts, and what this did was really open my eyes to a lot. So if you think that I was outspoken before this, just wait. Just wait. So I know that there are people who think like, oh, do this and, that I'm going to be locked up or whatever. I ain't worried about that. You heard the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Yeah, we saw the truth. Where you had foreknowledge of what was coming. You kissed old Lakima there on the cheek. You were embedded with the rioters. You're hiding behind the First Amendment. You're disregarding the First Amendment of the churchgoers. We got it. Attorney General Pam Bondi has announced this morning of 2 more arrests, putting on X, if you riot in a place of worship, we will find you. We have made 2 more arrests in connection with a coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Ian Davis Austin and Jerome D'Angelo Richardson. Congratulations, boys. Here's some new bracelets. This is what you get for interrupting a church service. We got Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche dealing with the Don Lemon fallout over the weekend. He jumped on ABC with George Slopadopoulos, and Slopadopoulos got called out by one Todd Blanche. Listen to this exchange.
I also want to ask you about the situation in Minnesota. Just this week, Don Lemon was arrested. The journalist Don Lemon was arrested along with another independent journalist. And this was despite the fact that a magistrate judge in an appeals court refused to approve the request. And the chief federal district judge, Patrick Schultz, wrote that there was no evidence that Mr. Lemon engaged in any criminal behavior or conspired to do so. So when do you believe that Mr. Lemon crossed the line from reporting on what was going on to criminal activity?
Conveniently missing from what you just showed, George, is the appellate court and a judge on the appellate court who said just a few days later there was clearly probable cause and it wasn't even a close question. So, and by the way, a grand jury, which is what our system has set up to determine whether probable cause exists, concluded that there was probable cause.
I love how a grand jury isn't enough now. But when Donald Trump was being pulled in for conspiracy to fraud, witness tampering, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding, when it came down to the election of 2020, a grand jury was exactly what the doctor ordered, and the left was fine with it. I also love how Slopadopoulos refers to Don Lemon as an independent journalist, yet I would imagine if Nick Shirley was to come up in conversation, he would be a right-wing extremist. So Todd Blanche sets him straight. He goes, yeah, well, we actually got a grand jury indictment.
That indictment is now public. Everybody in this country can pull it up and read for themselves and see what the grand jury found that Mr. Lemon did. I am not going to comment on the charges specifically because it's not appropriate, but it's interesting that we talk about the First Amendment right. You have a right of freedom of religion, which is just as important as any other right that we have. And George, I don't know if you've watched the videos or read the indictment about what it's alleged that Mr. Lemon did, but if anybody in this country thinks that is, quote, independent journalism, I would like to have a conversation with you. Now, he's obviously has a very good lawyer. He can raise defenses in court to the extent he wants to, but nobody in this country should feel comfortable storming into a church while it's ongoing and disrupting that church service and thinking that we're just going to stand by and let that happen, because there is a statute that does not allow that to happen. It doesn't matter if you happen to be a former CNN journalist. It doesn't matter if you're a rioter. It doesn't matter if you think you're peacefully protesting. You are not allowed to do that.
Thank you, sir. It wasn't just George Slopadopoulos being set straight. He actually, Todd Blanche, went over to the former network that employed Don Lemon, CNN, and made the exact same case to one Dana Bash.
Blanche, I want to go, actually, I went through the entire indictment, all 29 alleged overt acts of conspiracy. And there's a lot to ask you about, but I'm just going to pick a few here, okay? Starting with overt act number 20, which says, quote, defendant Lemon told his live stream audience about congregants leaving the church and about a young man who Lemon could see was frightened, scared, and crying. And Lemon observed that the congregants' reactions were understandable because the experience was traumatic and uncomfortable, which he said was the purpose. Overt Act 21 says, quote, as the operation continued, Defendant Lemon acknowledged the nature of it by expressing surprise that the police hadn't yet arrived at the church and admitted knowing that the whole point of the operation was to disrupt. Why wouldn't a jury at trial see this as a journalist observing what is happening, which is protected by the First Amendment?
Well, you conveniently left out multiple allegations in that indictment about what else Mr. Lemon did, including surreptitiously avoiding saying where they were going, being part of the planning, being part of the decisions to make sure the police didn't know this was happening and federal law enforcement didn't know this is happening. There are multiple allegations there. And guess what? He gets to have a lawyer and he gets to have a defense. And so if he wants to go forward with the defense that, aw, shucks, I was just a journalist, he can do that.
Ah, shucks. I'm just a journalist. 1101 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. NES says it now has the ability to let customers know when power has been restored to their home. The residential service status tracker lets you type in your address. You get real-time data that will determine if your power has been restored. It'll let you know if your area is still affected by an outage, and it'll tell if crews are currently in your area, according to NES. It is at nespower.com. Meanwhile, Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell has created a new commission to review NES and its response to the winter storm. The mayor says this commission will have the authority to hold hearings as it examines storm preparation and communication. Metro Council member and mayoral candidate Joy Stiles calling out NES leadership, saying untruths were shared about the utility storm response. Stiles says NES came into the winter storm with only 160 line workers on duty, far fewer than the staffing levels seen in other states that prepared earlier. She also criticized management at NES for not feeding crews or providing enough supplies.
I could not sit here for one more day and wait for someone to say, I'm sorry. We'll do better. We let you down. So I'm doing that today. And I promise you that change is coming. Because it has to.
Stiles says Antioch may be among the last areas restored. The council will hold another special meeting with NES this week. Nashville General Hospital is opening a special clinic today for residents who lost medications during the prolonged power outages. That'll operate until 2 o'clock and can also help with non-refrigerator prescriptions. Patients are asked to enter through the hospital's main entrance and then check in at the internal medicine clinic. And the death toll from the winter storm in Tennessee has risen to 23, with 3 of those here in Davidson County. Many schools still closed, heading into a second week. Some folks in West Nashville may not have any water service this morning. That's because of a water main break at Charlotte Pike and Brook Hollow Road.
So this is out there in the Hillwood area. Metro Water Services saying we could see much more of this, unfortunately, as thawing begins following the winter storm.
That's Channel 4's Holly Thompson. That intersection is flooded. The road is buckled. Crews are waiting for the gas company to clear their digging to fix the water outage. By the way, all the bad weather means we're about to start running into potholes on our commute soon. TDOT and NDOT says they'll be out doing fixes, so expect those rolling pothole crews and the backups that come with it. During a press conference in Pima County, Arizona this morning, Sheriff Chris Nanos confirms they do indeed have a crime scene in the search for the 84-year-old mother of Today host Savannah Guthrie, Nancy Guthrie. According to officials, Nancy was reported missing by her family around noon yesterday and was last seen around 9:45 Saturday night. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:08, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Sorry, I was reading the YouTube chat. Have you seen the YouTube chat, what they're demanding? Have you seen it?
What are they demanding?
They're demanding my papers to prove I'm not actually from Canada.
Oh, yeah?
That's what they said. That's what they said.
You know, you do kind of look like Trudeau a little bit. Just
Okay. All right, fair enough. Fair enough. He said, go back to Toronto, Chris. Call in. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. If you want to be a part of the show, you are more than welcome to. We got a partial shutdown happening right now. Democrat Rep. Ro Khanna says he is a firm no on reopening the government. He said this over the weekend, and I think it's going to be a while until we see this government reopened fully. But this was Ro Khanna on Meet the Press.
It's expected a House vote on Monday to reopen the government. Where do you stand right now, Congressman? Will you be voting yes to reopen the government?
I'm not just a no, I'm a firm no, and I'm going to advocate with colleagues that they vote no.
Okay, perfect. So the Democrats are out. And the shutdown the Democrats will probably try to blame it on the Republicans. Got it. There's no brakes on this train. The happenings are going to continue happening until morale improves. One thing that I would like to see more than the government reopen would be the SAVE Act passed. And it seems like the SAVE Act is getting more and more steam as each day goes on. Chip Roy was talking about it on Fox News over the weekend. Chip Roy has been a huge proponent of the SAVE Act. Lord knows we need it. This is Chip Roy.
We're working with the White House and the Speaker on the best processes. But look, the SAVE Act is a great bill. And you just noted, Mike and I updated our SAVE Act, which focuses on citizenship. We added the voter ID, to your point. That's now the Save America Act, and it's a great bill. And we want to move that bill over to the Senate and then force the Senate to act. I want Democrats to have to explain why they want non-citizens to vote in our elections and they don't want common sense voter ID in federal elections. So we'll see if that becomes a part of the appropriations fight. We certainly believe it ought to move forward, and we certainly believe we ought to stand with ICE. So we're trying to be responsible, do our job, and follow the bipartisan agreements. And by the way, Tom Homan's doing a great job on the ground, restoring some, cooling things and calming things down. But we're not backing away. The president's not backing away. We have a job to do. We need to do it the right way. And we're not going to let these radical Antifa Marxists undermine security and safety for Americans. We're going to stand up for the American people that sent us here to change things.
Amen. And Lord knows we need it. The SAVE Act is going to be a huge piece of legislation to secure those elections. We talked about it a lot during our last podcast of Mostly Peaceful with myself, Mandis, and Matt Murphy. That episode is available on YouTube should you want to watch it. But it was like, okay, how do we talk the Democrats into getting on board with the SAVE Act? Would you cut 10% of DHS funding to placate the Democrats to secure our elections? I probably would. I will tell you this. Rep. Anna Paulina Luna is threatening to hold up the government funding bills in a procedural vote if GOP leadership does not attach the SAVE Act to the rule package. This is where things are going to start to get interesting, and I'm a fan of it. Bill Malugin was reporting on this earlier today.
Things could get pretty messy here on the Hill today, as House Republicans may have to advance this package of government spending bills without any help from Democrats whatsoever. Now, the first thing that House Republicans have to do is pass a complicated procedural vote known as a rule. That has to pass in order to get an actual vote on these funding bills on the House floor. Now, that procedural vote is going to be a whole lot easier said than done. Not only will Democrats not vote for it, but Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna is threatening to hold the whole process up if the voter ID bill known as the SAVE Act isn't attached to the spending bills. Still, though, Speaker Johnson is confident it'll all get worked out.
Speaker Johnson's confident. Anna Paulina Luna says, no, we're not doing any of that until we get the SAVE Act attached. I'm all for the SAVE Act, and I think we need to get behind Anna Paulina Luna. In the meantime, Mike Johnson has been doing interviews. He was on Fox News Sunday, and he said when it comes to DHS funding, Chuck Schumer can kick rocks. He's not going to touch it. It's already baked into the cake. The big, beautiful bill got it handled through, I believe it was 28 or 29. And he said he's not touching ICE funding, and deportations will continue.
There are billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars for ICE. They're going to keep operating even if this DHS funding goes away. For now, it affects FEMA and TSA and other things. But Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says this. He says one of the things they want to do, in addition to negotiating these reforms, they want all the money that ICE is now spending, or where it's allocated, no matter where it comes from, to be tagged with those reforms. If there's money you guys have already approved for ICE, can any reforms reach to that money?
We put all of that funding in the big, beautiful bill, the Working Families Tax Cut. And I'm glad that we did, because we had to fix the crisis that was created by the Biden administration over the previous 4 years. They opened the border wide. It was absolute chaos. We allowed, by some estimates, 20 million illegal aliens to come into the country, and many of them hardened, dangerous people, criminals. We've got to get them out of the country. So we had to front load the funding. That will be there. And as you noted, it doesn't matter what they do to the current DHS bill, those operations will continue. Exactly.
Nothing you can do. The funding's already been appropriated and accounted for, so good luck kicking and screaming. The kicking and screaming will continue until the Democrats reclaim power and continue being able to ruin the country. Mike Johnson also said during the same interview that during a closed-door meeting with Chuck Schumer and Tom Homan said to Schumer's face, no, we're not going to demask our ICE agents.
They don't sound like they're going to be ready to cave on some of these things. They want masks off of these ICE agents. They want them wearing ID that tells exactly who they are. I mean, are those the kinds of things that you think any of your members are going to cave on?
Well, those two things are conditions that would create further danger. I mean, Tom Homan told Leader Schumer himself, I was part of the conversation in the Oval Office a few days ago, he said that's one of the demands that I'm not going to be able to implement. I have to protect my officers. And when you have people doxing them and targeting them, of course we don't want their personal identification out there on the street.
No, because we've seen what these crazy radical leftists will do. We don't need that. They doxed the two guys that took out Alex Preddy, and you probably haven't heard it anywhere in the news because it was two Mexican agents. They were of Mexican descent. It didn't fit the narrative for the left, so we're probably not going to hear about that anymore. But they want ICE agents demasked. They want them to wear identification. They want them to be able to be doxed and found. Who in their right mind would want something like that? Senator Rick Scott makes the case on Will Cain's show on Fox News on Friday.
Says enough is enough. All right, one, we're tired of earmarks, we're tired of wasteful spending, and we want to make sure ICE is fully funded so we can secure this country. And who wants these criminals in our country? Like, who in their right mind wants a criminal that might rape their daughter or their granddaughter in this country? I don't. Why are the Democrats doing this? Why do they want to shut down ICE?
I thought the public made its voice very clear, a year and a half ago when they went to the ballot box. But here we are, I guess, 6 months later, and you're telling me that's the only... I don't know. Government can't be shut down for 6 months until the next election, so there's going to have to be some other form of leverage, some other mechanism or lever to pull in order to keep our government funded beyond...
But nobody's going to defund ICE. It's just not going to happen. Especially when the Democrats, we understand what their ultimate goal is. The ultimate goal is the newcomers and making them permanent citizens. And if you don't think that that's the ultimate goal of the Democrats, Chuck Schumer basically said it just yesterday.
Short of workers, we have a population that is not reproducing it on its own with the same level that it used to. The only way we're going to have a great future in America is if we welcome and embrace immigrants, the dreamers, and all of them, because our ultimate goal is to help the dreamers, but get a path to citizenship for all 11 million or however many undocumented there are here.
We knew that was your ultimate goal. Thank you for telling us the truth. This is one of the biggest issues that we have in this country. The demographics are changing rapidly. And we're seeing, especially with these illegal aliens, that whether they're given citizenship or not, the way the census is currently ran, it will give them representation in government. And if we can get that under control, that's a huge win for conservatives, because we've seen people fleeing states like California and Illinois and New York and coming to states like Florida and Tennessee and Texas. So they're losing population. If they lose the population that's fleeing to the red states, and then they can't count the illegal aliens in the census, they're in a world of trouble. These Democrat states are when it comes to representation in the government. David Sachs broke this all down on the All In podcast.
The Democrats want to thwart mass deportations because illegal immigrants are a vital part of their power base. And you can see this in the 2030 apportionment forecast, which just came out. Illegal aliens count towards the census, which occurs every decade. And the census determines the apportionment of congressional seats and electoral votes. And what you see in these maps is that citizens of blue states have been migrating to red states because those blue states are failing. As a result of that, blue states are expected to lose 9 House seats and electoral votes because of the changing population numbers. Illegal aliens in blue states have been propping up those numbers. And so, for example, in the last election, President Trump would have won an additional 9 electoral votes if we had an accurate counting.
The Democrats know that, by the way. The Democrats are fully aware of that, and they're going to fight tooth and nail to make sure that that never happens. On the flip side, as midterms are coming, careening towards us, and they're going to be here before we know it, Speaker Johnson actually feels pretty good about the midterms and the chances of the Republicans. He said he's feeling rather bullish yesterday.
I am very bullish on the midterms. I'm convinced, Shannon, that we're going to win. We have an extraordinary record to run on. We're raising more money than Democrats right now. I personally raised $82 million as an all-time record for a speaker last year. And when you combine that with the Congressional Leadership Fund, which is the Speaker's endorsed super PAC, I raised $218 million. The NRCC has better numbers. The RNC has better numbers. We're going to have a war chest to run on and a great record and extraordinary candidates put out there on the field. We've got the tailwinds, and I think we're going to defy history and do this and grow our majority. I need a margin larger than 1, Shannon.
He says that we're going to defy history and grow our margin. Now, a lot of people are taking that with a grain of salt because, again, the history is there, and it is very hard for the party in power to maintain that power in the midterm elections. But one of the things that he brought up was the war chest that the Republicans are accumulating. He said that he raised himself $82 million last year. Now, take into account the DNC is currently $17 million in debt. The GOP has just about a $100 million cash edge currently.
Themselves in a deep financial hole as the midterm campaign kicks in. A report showing the RNC holds a nearly $100 million cash edge over the DNC. Democrats ending last year with about $17 million in debt. Mark Meredith reporting on that now out of D.C. What you find out, Mark? Good morning.
And Bill, good morning to you. The midterm elections are only 273 days out, and there's new filings with the Federal Election Commission giving us a better idea where both Democrats and Republicans stand financially. The Democratic National Committee says it is in debt following the 2024 election. It owes $3.5 million. Democrats say they have $14 million cash on hand, a number far lower than they had at the start of 2025. As the New York Times points out, Democratic officials are privately growing alarmed about the national party's financial position. The DNC chairman says, though, there's no cause for concern.
Everything's fine. Don't worry about it. Don't worry. I mean, this goes back to when you see the Democrats fundraising off all the insanity. They're going to fundraise off of anything that they possibly can because Lord knows Kamala Harris didn't leave them in a good spot.
Just keep organizing, keep fighting. We are going to win. Don't be complacent. Get out there and do the work. And we're going to have a big year, and we will put a check on this madman's power.
Republicans who retain control of both the White House and Congress are in a much better position financially. The RNC says it has $95 million cash in hand and no debt to report. Over the weekend, Texas Democrats celebrated a special election victory in what's considered a deep red district. Democrat Taylor Remitt won a special election for the Texas State Senate. It's a district the president won by double digits, but Trump says it's not his fault.
No, that election, though, is one to keep an eye on. And it's hard to argue that the Democrats don't have the energy right now. They do have a lot of energy. They are going to be motivated come the midterms. But this money issue is one that is going to absolutely play a part in it, as will this partial government shutdown and where we go in the next couple of weeks. A lot to get to. Only a little bit of time left. It's 11:22. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friend Aaron Parker over at Parker Safes and Vaults. And let me tell you why I trust these guys. It's because they do business the old-fashioned way. They only carry products that they believe in. They answer their phone. They show up when they say they will, and they build long-term relationships with their customers. I know it seems like a low bar, but when you see the other companies that aren't doing that, it really does raise the value of doing business with Parker's. Plus, Aaron Parker is an Air Force security veteran, former park ranger. He knows security. His boys stand on business, too. It's unrelated to the safe company, but one of his sons left the military because he wasn't going to be forced to take a vaccine, an experimental jab. And I know that doesn't have anything to do with safes, but it does tell you about the integrity that is behind every decision they make at this business. Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville offers fire-rated, theft-resistant gun safes, including UL-rated TL and TR safes built to resist tool and torch attacks. This is perfect for firearms, but it's perfect for everything. Precious metals, jewelry, important documents, photo albums, all the works will stay safe in a safe from Parker's. Again, Aaron Parker, former veteran, knows security. He can tell you what you need to know and walk you through everything. They review every safe on their YouTube page. Search for Parker Safes on YouTube or give them a call today, 931-842-6445, or hop online to parkersafes.com. That's parkersafes.com.
Nine days after massive outages, Mayor O'Connell launching a review of NES storm response. That story and more coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. It is 11:26 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? My name is Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, and you can keep up with me off the air on all the social media platforms, Twitter, True Social, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, at Chris Hand on Air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. You're welcome to join the show any way you want to. You can jump in the chat on YouTube or Rumble. Shout out to the chat. It's always unhinged, and we love it. And then you could also jump in on the text line, 615-737-9986. Phone lines, same exact number, 615-737-9986. Paul in Middle Tennessee wants to talk about the Epstein files. What's up, Paul? Paul? What's up, man?
You talking to me?
Yes, sir.
My
Yes,
name's
sir.
Bobby. But, okay, I'd just like to bring up a point, and we're probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but when these girls was, 17, roughly? Am I right? 17, some of them
I mean, I think it depends on who you ask. Yes, were there 17-year-olds? Absolutely, but there was also, I mean, very young children.
Yeah, I get it. That's why I'm going to get the hate for this. But I've raised kids. I've got 2 daughters. I mean, I understand. I taught them right from wrong. Now then, these girls went into the situation blind. I understand that completely. But if they were violated in any way, it seems to me as long as the money and the benefits kept coming, they kept going back. That's what I don't understand.
I mean, that's like easy to do without any context in the situation, right? But if you find yourself as a 16-year-old girl getting raped by President Bill Clinton, which, you know, I don't have any solid information that happened, but just hypothetically speaking, you're a little nervous to go to the authorities. Who's going to believe you? Some 16-year-old runaway. They said most of the girls that they targeted were runaways. Who would believe you?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, who would believe you?
You know, what I'm wondering is why they didn't go to their parents, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would go back to the girls that they targeted. And I mean, you see this with predators of all kind, right? They don't target. They're not targeting strong families with moms and dads who are present. They're going after the kids with the broken homes.
Yeah, I completely understand, and it's completely wrong. I'm a, conservative Christian, but, that's beside the point. And, I'm just wondering why, even after the end of their 20s, they just kept going back. And then after he got caught, then they want to come up and say what they did, what he did.
Well, I do know that a lot of the victims had to signed NDAs for large cash payments, so they legally can't say anything. Which, I mean, take that however you might want to take it. I'm not saying that they should have signed the NDA, but a lot of them are legally obligated now. I don't know, man. It's a tough thing. I want to get to the bottom of it, and I want to see some accountability. I do think that there had to be, and I agree with you to a certain extent, Bobby. I think that there was a contingent of girls who were in it for the lifestyle, and then there's a whole other contingent of girls who were forced into it, and both are wrong, no matter how you shake it. Even if it was a 17-year-old girl who was in it for the money and the glamour and the fame or whatever reasons they would come up with, that's still a child being groomed. And that's not something that we can just let slide under the rug.
I understand. I'm just thinking at it from a different angle here.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man, and I appreciate the call. It's 11:30. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Computer freeze on you? The computer froze on Mason.
Well, here we go. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Winter storm update. Nashville Mayor Freddie O'Connell has signed an executive order creating a commission to review the response by NES. Channel 4's Joylyn Bukovac says it will be able to hold hearings and request assistance of the Metro Auditor. This commission to release findings in 6 months.
Mayor Freddie O'Connell says that the proposed pace of restoration is unacceptable and that he's calling NES leaders in for answers, demanding quicker progress and clearer communication. NES CEO says the storm caused unprecedented damage and that crews are using every possible resource to get customers restored as quickly as possible.
Well, council member and mayoral candidate Joy Stiles says NES leadership wasn't prepared and claims the utility misled the public about staffing and resources.
This is a management problem. Management at NES, and frankly, also Nashville, made choices that left Nashvillians out in the cold. These were decisions that were made by choice. This is not just Mother Nature.
NES says it expects 99% of customers to have power back by February 8th. At least 25,000 NES customers are still without power today. NES says it now has the ability to let you know when your power's been restored. You can go, it's called the Residential Service Status Tracker. You can go to nespower.com for that. Nashville General Hospital stepping in to help people replace medications that went bad. The hospital hosting a clinic today until 2 to assist anyone who lost refrigerated prescriptions or other essential medications. Those who attend should bring a photo ID, insurance card, and a list of their current medications. And the death toll from the winter storm has risen to 23 across Tennessee. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
The time is 11:37. The station, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, and you can join the show however you would like. iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. You can watch this as well. Super Talk TV is up and running on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. We appreciate you helping us grow the digital footprint of the radio station. Every day at this time, we do a little thing that we like to call, what do we like to call it? The Thunderdome. No. It's the lightning round. Oh, you're not getting any sound effects today. Mason.
Dude, my sound effects
Mason is like going to lose his mind. You know, oftentimes I get on Mason about the lack of lightning and the proximity to the storm. But Mason, he's got to step his game up today. I mean, we could still ride with DRE if you want to. If you're feeling like it's not going to work.
I was like, hold on, give me 1 second.
I almost had to do the sound effects for Ken Weaver's newscast a little while ago.
I know, it was weird.
Do you got it up and running now?
Can you do the lightning round intro too?
It's time for the lightning round. So we got lightning, but no intro. All right, that's fine.
No intro, that's so weird.
We'll take it. All right, we'll start today in the lightning round with a story on the 2020 election. I've been waiting to cover this, and we've been running out of time. Kash Patel gave a long interview over the weekend with Kayleigh McEnany on Fox News, and he said that they're going to be digging into the 2020 election. This was Kash Patel talking about the raid on that Fulton County, Georgia election office.
Hey, Kayleigh, it's great to be with you. Look, like any other investigation, the FBI follows the facts and the law, and President Trump and the Attorney General have given us clear mandate to reduce crime in this country and investigate anything that rises to the level of probable cause. And what we did, the FBI, with our partners at the Department of Justice and the AG, let out on an extensive effort to conduct interviews and an investigation, which led us to a probable cause to be delivered to a judge who found probable cause for us to execute that search warrant, which you saw and the nation saw yesterday. And what we did was what we do in any other investigation. We went in there, we followed the rules of the search warrant. The FBI and the DOJ went in and collected numerous pieces of evidence that the judge authorized us to collect. And what we're going to do next is go through the voluminous amounts of information collected and continue our investigation. At this point, there's not much more I can say publicly because we have to go through a lot more material, but it was predicated upon a finding of probable cause by a judge in Georgia.
So we don't really have any information on why exactly they raided. Well, let me take a step back. We know why they raided the Fulton County, Georgia election office, but we don't know what they found. All we do know for sure is that Democrats are up in arms about democracy, and you wonder why. I mean, if somebody had accused Mason and I of pumping up the YouTube numbers and faking it, we would go, okay, just look at the YouTube. Like, here you go. Like, look at the information. I don't care. Like, we didn't do anything. But it seems like the Democrats are very, very panicked that people are looking into Fulton County and the 2020 election. Speaker Mike Johnson was asked about it by Kristen Welker on Meet the Press over the weekend.
Wayne, keep this going.
Okay, you take me to my next question. In fact, I want to talk to you about the midterms. And I want to play you something. This was in focus this week. President Trump said this last week at Davos. This was about the 2020 elections. Take a look.
It was a rigged election. Everybody now knows that. They found out. People will soon be prosecuted for what they did. It's probably breaking news, but it should be. It was a rigged election. You can't have rigged elections.
Is it healthy for this country's democracy, for the sitting president to be questioning the 2020 election 5 years ago, something claims that have been deemed to be false, again now that he lost?
What's healthy for our country and our democracy is for everyone to be laser focused on election integrity. If you don't have free and fair
election integrity,
well, yes,
Mr. Speaker.
Yes,
this was asked and answered and litigated and relitigated. The page has been turned.
Was it actually litigated, or was there a stop talking about this directive that was sent down and everybody stopped talking about it? They turned the page. It was like, are we doing the Gwen Waltz thing? Turning the page, Donald Trump. We're turning the page. No, it was never actually litigated. It was never actually looked into. Shout out to Bill Barr. It was nobody looked into it. They impeached Donald Trump over it.
He's still talking about an election that he lost, allegations which have been deemed claimed.
The president
false.
is keeping the focus on election integrity. It must be in the forefront of everyone's minds, because if you don't have a free and fair election, you cannot maintain a constitutional republic. He's bothered by what happened in 2020, and we all know there was a lot of irregularity and problem in that, and we're not going to relitigate it. That's not the point. What we have to do is go forward and ensure that we don't have these problems in the future. That's why the House has passed the SAVE Act twice already. We have further election integrity measures that we're working on now, and everybody in both parties should applaud that.
So he kind of moves the goalpost. We're not going to relitigate it. We're not going to, well, we kind of are relitigating it if the FBI is raiding these election hubs, right? If they're going after the Fulton County, Georgia election office, it feels like relitigating. And the president hasn't slowed down at all. Over the weekend, posting a bunch of stuff on True Social, including this clip from OAN from the 2020 election.
Over 1.5 million fraudulent votes counted, and the spread is less than 82,000 votes. These fraudulent votes come from dead voters, ballots that were received before they were supposedly mailed out, and over 330,000 electronic spikes from the voting machine. 205,000 overvotes, meaning there were 205,000 more votes than registered voters, and 682,000 ballots that were illegally processed without any oversight whatsoever. More than 1.5 million votes in Pennsylvania is apparently what it took for Joe Biden to steal the state. Georgia has a similar phenomenon that Democrats are failing to account for. 66,248 underage voters voted in Georgia.
Weird.
10,315 dead people voted.
Interesting.
2,500 convicted felons voted.
Peculiar.
Nearly 200,000 votes were fraudulently inserted into the vote count instantaneously.
Weird.
4,500 votes come from unregistered voters.
Huh.
These numbers show a clear pattern that a variety of types of fraud occurred in this election and that Democrats are desperately trying to cover it up.
And hopefully we get answers from our FBI very, very soon. President Trump, again, just a couple weeks ago in Davos, saying people are going to be charged for this, and we'll see what happens, and we'll keep you updated on that. But I will say, it's not like Democrats are wholesale engaged in fraud, okay? We can all understand that, right? We can all agree on that. Time for another story here in the lightning round. Breaking, another Democrat lawmaker has been charged with fraud. Oh, damn. Is it all of them? I think it's starting to feel like it's all of them. This is a state rep out of Georgia.
State Representative Dexter Sharper falsely claimed he was out of work to collect nearly $14,000 in emergency benefits. Investigators say Sharper, a Democrat who represents Valdosta, was earning income as a legislator, running a party rental business, and working as a musician. Following his federal court hearing today, Sharper declined to comment on the case. Now, two other state lawmakers also accused of pandemic unemployment fraud.
Sharon Henderson and Karen Bennett.
Democratic Representative Sharon Henderson, whose district covers Covington, and former state representative Karen Bennett, who just resigned on the first day of the year.
Hashtag not all Democrats, right? Not all Democrats. Just feels like the overwhelming majority. But here we are. I got another story for you here in the lightning round. Breaking news. Democrat activist judge has been arrested and indicted for fraud. What is going on today?
A Detroit judge finds herself on the wrong side of the bench tonight. The feds have charged 4 people in a corruption scheme, including the judge, her father, and a guardian. They're accused of stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from people at risk and unable to care for themselves.
Now, to be fair, I don't know if this is a Democrat fraud thing or a Detroit fraud thing. Okay, it's going to go into one of the buckets. We both know that both of the buckets have an overwhelming amount of fraud.
Stunning 7 investigator Heather Catallo is here now after exposing allegations of corruption for over a decade in Michigan's guardianship system. And now this.
This is a huge federal probe. Families have complained for a long time that the guardianship system makes it far too easy for people with power to take money from the vulnerable. And that's exactly what the feds are alleging this judge and her co-defendants did.
Andre Bradley Baskin, P70474, here on behalf of Ms. Nancy Williams.
A lawyer turned judge who once defended a local guardian in court
is now her co-defendant in a federal corruption case.
She looks forward to her name being cleared in these charges.
Before Andrea Bradley Baskin became a 36th district court judge, Bradley Baskin and her father, attorney Avery Bradley, often represented guardian Nancy Williams. Williams' guardianship agency, Guardian and Associates, was appointed to be the fiduciary for more than 1,000 cases in the Wayne County Probate Court. When a probate judge declares you legally incapacitated, a guardian can have total control over your medical and financial decisions, often with very little oversight.
And apparently they just decided that you wanted to give all your money to this Democrat judge. Is that how it happened? I think that's how it happened.
In this indictment unsealed Friday, Judge Bradley Baskin, Avery Bradley, Williams, and Dwight Rashad were all charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud in what the feds call a years-long scheme to embezzle money from Williams' incapacitated wards.
Send them straight to jail. Just what a bunch of absolute scumbags. They should rot
Right to jail, right away.
Rot in prison for the rest of your life. Honestly, you're just going after the elderly. That's what we're doing here now. Is this a Democrat thing or is this a Detroit thing? Or is it a happy combo of both? Because I could do it with both of them. Democrats and fraud or Detroit and fraud. It's both. It's like peanut butter and jelly. Both of them. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. Melania debuted over the weekend. Did you see what the critics scored it? They gave it a 10% on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience score, though, was a 99%, which is hilarious because if you go back a few years in time to 2021, there was a Fauci movie, and the critics gave it like a 100% score, and the audience gave it like a 2% score. I think you got to go with the popcorn meter.
That's normally what I go to.
On Rotten Tomatoes. But CNN liked it, or at least they were forced to admit that it was a success.
This documentary is a big success. We're going to get official numbers from Amazon later this morning, but already, according to the projections that are circulating in the film industry, this is the #1 documentary in terms of box office ticket sales in about a decade. This documentary is another example of the red-blue divide. We've seen ticket sales be a whole heck of a lot stronger in Republican stronghold areas than we have in big blue cities, and that was to be expected.
Stunning. Got another story for you here in the lightning round. You ready for this one? This is something that it's been proposed in Massachusetts, and now it's being proposed in California, where you're going to have to be taxed on miles driven. What's that? Yes. Oh, you happen to live a little bit further away from your office? Oh, no worries. You'll just have to pay the government a little bit more money. Crazy. Listen to this. This is outside the city hall where they were discussing this plan. All of these Californians were furious about it. Listen to this.
So the people here protesting against ICE have absolutely no idea that their rights were completely violated yesterday by the California State Legislature. In the Assembly, the Democrats, by a simple majority vote, voted to advance a potential per-mile tax. Yeah. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's not a rumor. They just tasked a California Transportation Commission to come up with recommendations by 2027 to be able to implement a per-mile tax that would charge you 2 to 9 cents for every single mile that you drive. And you know why that's insane? Because we're talking about families of 2 or maybe even 3 paying an extra of $1,200 to $4,200 every single year just to drive.
Why would you stay in the Communist Republic of California any longer? Honestly, what on earth could possibly keep you there if you are living in the People's Republic of California? Nothing could keep me there. Not the ocean, not the beautiful scenery, nothing. Nothing is going to keep me there.
Depending on how that estimation ends up coming out. So you are going to be punished by the government for needing to fulfill work and familial obligations. Add on top of that the fact that the U.S. House decided that cars that are made past 2026 should continue to have kill switches in them. This was a decision that was made by the Biden administration, and it really irritates me. It should irritate the American people. Because imagine if in a state like California, they sent you your quarterly or your monthly billing for the per mile tax, and you refuse to pay it. Then they're gonna what? Kill switch your car? Oh yeah, no. you're not paying your per mile tax. Uncle Sam didn't get his money. Now you don't get to drive.
I mean, that's the dystopian future that we're staring down the barrel of. Let's not make jokes about it. That's the reality. And if they're going to do it in California, what do you think the Democrats are going to do if they ever regain power of the entire country? Oh, coming to a state near you, federal mile taxes. Make no mistake about it, that would absolutely be part of their plan. Again, they're pushing this in California. They're also pushing this in Massachusetts. It is a bad idea, and that seems to be the only ideas that Democrats can come up with these days. I got time for one more story in the lightning round. Do you remember when everybody was up in arms over Donald Trump saying that Haiti was an S-hole country? Do you remember that? Remember how, we just days upon days of people just completely up in arms that Donald Trump would even say that. Oh, my gosh, during his first term. Haiti is a great place. It's number one for voodoo and cat eating. Everybody loves it. Trump said it was an S-hole. Everybody said he was a racist bigot. Democrat rep Lauren Gillen yesterday. Let's hear what she says. They were the temporary protected status for Haitians expires tomorrow. Okay, so the temporary is just that, it's temporary. You're no longer protected, but you're gonna have to go back to Haiti if you happen to be a Haitian. Democrat rep Lauren Gillen trying to make the case why they should stay.
Sending these people back to Haiti is basically a death sentence. And
wait, what? I thought Haiti was a vibrant country with a rich culture, and I thought we were mad when Trump called it an S-hole.
Haiti is basically a death sentence, and that's why we were asking the administration to open up their hearts and to extend this TPS.
No, yeah. How about no? 11:53 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. 11:59, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by Better Water LLC, water filtration systems, water softeners, betterwater.com. Chad Benson's in studio. Mason Fleming producing. Ken Weaver in the newsroom. Does Bell still have the wire on his car?
Yes, he does.
Oh.
Yeah.
You should go for the world record. Have you looked up what the world record is?
No.
For days with a live wire on
Ken
your
was
primary
saying
vehicle?
Some of these have had the same thing as his, and they've just caught the car on fire and just sliced through it zzz.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So
at least your car's not in half.
Yeah, at least it's not in half yet.
It could be worse.
It could. Don't say that.
What are you talking about today?
Talk a little bit of Epstein. We'll talk a little bit about, what? We got some funny stories from the weekend that were hilarious, including sports. The Olympics start this week. Some Super Bowl stuff. And then, of course, NES. What a nightmare. Because now everybody's flipped. Freddie's like, all right, I'm done with this. And I have never seen a group of people handle something so poorly when you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Okay, you knew it was coming, and you still handled it bad.
Well, they had a couple hundred people ready to go.
Oh, yeah. Others have 8,000, 10,000, 12,000.
Yeah, 20,000.
We got at least 160.
We got a handful of guys. We'll be all right. We'll be all right.
Oh, God.
Chad's in next. It's 12 o'clock. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.